So one of the stories we've been following is this report coming out about the events of Pete Hegseth and these boats from Venezuela, and that after they had bombed one of these boats and it was going down, that apparently, and I'm going to paraphrase because of community guidelines here, Pete Hegseth said, eliminate them all. Can't use the other word that he actually said because more than likely I would get flagged. Now, this whole story is bad news for Republicans. It makes Pete Hegseth look bad. Now, Pete Hegseth may end up being the scapegoat here for this story. Donald Trump has already come out and said, well, I don't think Pete Hegseth said that. It's not something I would have agreed with. I wouldn't have told him to do that. And of course, Donald Trump is trying to walk away from the comments. He does that all the time. And when asked about things, he says, well, I don't really know about that. I don't know anything about that story. I don't know anything about him saying that. Donald Trump never seems to know much about anything. If you ever notice that, when you ask him a hard question, he comes back with some kind of an answer like, well, I don't really know about that, but I don't think so, or I've never heard of that, or really, where'd you get that? Those kind of things. He doesn't know anything, okay? But this story has got some legs to it. Now, I did a video yesterday talking about how there are two different investigations into Pete Hegseth. And apparently now Democrats are looking into whether or not this would fall under an impeachable offense. And I would think condoning the unaliving of other people from other countries in international waters should count. But see, I'm of the mind that if they decide to go that route, it would only get brought up and passed in the House if they have the votes in the Senate to remove Pete Hegseth. Now, what could happen is Donald Trump could ask Pete to resign, or he could fire him, one of the two, and try to do it to save face publicly, to not look as weak as he already does. But Donald Trump already looks weak by not having done it already. His response to it immediately should have been, I'm going to look into this. If this report seems credible, Pete Hegseth is going to be gone. But that's not what it is. And because Donald Trump doesn't actually care, right? He is happy with the chaos. He's happy with the headline because he thinks it makes him look tough. He thinks he looks like a strong leader by doing all of these things. And he wants that image of power, of fear, because he has always admired people who have that kind of a hold over their country. Donald Trump is not going to do anything on this unless he is told it's the only way to make himself look better. But it's a horrible story for Pete Hegseth, horrible story for Republicans, and makes Donald Trump look weak.